Hey everyone, I'm Pedro. Welcome to Wondershare Filmora to explore your journey, creativity simplified. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to animate with keyframes and a new feature called Path Curve in Filmora 14 and create a creative Pac-Man animation. In this video, we will create a scene from the Pac-Man games. We will work with three things: a maze map for a background, 4 ghosts, and a Pac-Man head. So let's get started. First, we will animate the Pac-Man mouse. To do this, we use a triangle shape. Before we start animating, we should change the project settings. To do that, go to the Files and select Project Settings. Change the ratio to the Instagram and make sure your resolution in 1080p to 1080p. And for frame rate, set it on the 30 FPS. And why? Because higher number makes your animation more smoother. So you can go higher, but for this animation, 30 frame is fine. So click OK. Now we can start our project. First, add the triangle layer into the timeline. Then add the head layer on the top of the triangle layer. And to see the triangle better, select the head layer and reduce the opacity to 50. Now we can lock it because we won't change anything here. So select the triangle layer and in basics, change the rotation to -45 because I want to see his mouse open. But before I start animation, let me tell you how we can add a keyframe. Do you see these points here near the scale, position, and near rotation, even near opacity? It means you can add the keyframe. If I click on one of them, you can see now I create a keyframe. So if you ever want to create a keyframe on all these options, scale, position, and rotation, you need to create a keyframe from here at the transform part. You can add it from here too in the timeline. As you can see, if I click on it, I create a keyframe on all these options. There is a shortcut for it. You can hold Alt and left click. You can create a keyframe multi-times. But now, we want to animate a rotation. Put your playhead at the beginning of the layer and create a keyframe. Then zoom in the timeline, go 10 frames further and put your playhead at the frame 10. You can see it from here too. Reset the rotation, set the number on 0. If I play the video, you will see I animate the triangle. If you see the Pac-Man animation, you see his mouse open multi-times. We need to copy and paste the keyframe. Select the keyframes by hold Shift and click on them. Then press Ctrl C and put your playhead on the frame 20 and press Ctrl V. Move to the 10 frame further and press Ctrl V again. And continue like this to create a keyframes. Now, if I play the video, you will see triangle moves like this. Because our animation is more than 5 seconds, we need to get longer animation, for example 1 minute. Instead of copy and paste the keyframes, because it takes a lot of time, we can copy and paste the layer. So unlike the head layer and zoom out to see the timeline better, click and drag and increase the duration to 1 minute. Now copy and paste first layer here. So put your playhead at the end of the layer and press Ctrl C and Ctrl V. Now play the video. As you can see, we have a problem here because I want to copy and paste it multi-times for 1 minute and we have a little jump here. So why it's happened? Because it doesn't have the same number, because one of them is -45 and one of them is 0. So delete the second layer and trim this part and copy and paste it again. Put the playhead at the end of the layer and press Ctrl V. Now if I check this part, there is no jump here anymore. So now everything is fine. Put your playhead here and just hold your Ctrl and press V multi-times Now select all the layers, right click on it and select create a compound clip, or you can press Alt G. You can rename this layer as a up mouse. I choose M for the mouse and press OK. It's only animate the upper lip. We need this animation for lower lip too. So we need to duplicate it first, select it and hold the Alt and move your mouse to the between these layers and leave it. Then on the right side, on the basic part, select the mirror. Now if I play the video, you will see we create the Pac-Man mouse with this two layer. Now we can increase the opacity to see everything looks fine. Then select all the layers again. You can press Alt G or create a compound clip by right click on the layers, and now rename it as a Pac-Man or any names you want and press OK. Now I can move all the layers or even animate them. But before that, let me explain the different animation you can do. Add one of the ghost layer into the timeline, select both of them and make them smaller. Put one of them on the right side and one of them at the left side. Pac-Man should move from left to right. For that, we need to create a keyframe on a position. Create a keyframe for position and move the playhead a little further, maybe 2 seconds is good. Then change the x-axis and put the Pac-Man near a ghost. If I play the video, you can see he moves from left to right. But to better understand what's happening behind the keyframes, right click on the Pac-Man layer to see show keyframe animation, or press Alt Shift key to see this window. Or if you want to close it, you can right click on it and select the hide keyframe animation. There is another way to access this part by click on this small box, and now we can see the animation here. As you can see, we only changed the x-axis, and in position X you can see Pac-Man moves from here to here, and we only made 2 keyframes. To make it smoother, so if I select the last keyframe, you can see these options will appear here. The first one is the linear. We already have it here. This is a linear animation. But the next one, if you select it, it's a curve. It means it makes your animation smoother. Now, if I play the video, we will see it's reduced his speed from here. You can apply this effect for both keyframes by select the first keyframe and choose the curve again. And you can see now the line has a curve shape. It moves smoother than previous animation. So let's undo it. The second version is a continuous curve. To understand it better, let me change the position of the Pac-Man, and continuous curve works for between the 2 keyframes, and you should apply it for the middle keyframe. And our middle keyframe, it's here. So select the middle keyframe and choose the continuous curve. And if I play the video, as you can see, it stops very smoothly from here and continues his animation smooth again, and he stops here. So it means it works like a bridge between 2 keyframes. So the next option is the freeze. If you apply a freeze keyframe, we should apply it on the y-axis too, so you can get access to the X and Y keyframe by click on them. So on a position Y, press freeze again, and if I play the video, you can see the Pac-Man freeze here and it jumps to the next position because I applied freeze animation for both keyframes here. So freeze keyframe, hold the keyframe at that position or at that number, it doesn't matter. Maybe you work on a scale or you work on a opacity. So the next options works together. It's ease out and ease in. For ease out, always choose ease out for the first keyframe and choose the ease in for the second keyframe. because it makes the first keyframe more smoother. You slow down from here and speed a little from the center. Curves and ease out and ease in and continuous curve makes your animation more smoother. So remember that. Now we understand the difference between the keyframes. So let's start our animation for the Pac-Man scene. Add the maze background in the timeline and put it under the Pac-Man layer and increase the duration. So select the Pac-Man layer and make it smaller. Put it at the beginning of the maze because it starts from here. Now you can add the red ghost again in the timeline because he's the boss and it should be at the center of the maze. You can lock it, we don't need it right now, and you can lock the maze layer too. So always remember to press Ctrl S to save your project because it's very important. Now the Pac-Man once moves from here to moves between these walls to eat a boss. There is a cheat code for this and let me show you. First create a keyframe for the position, then go a little further and put Pac-Man at the center. And if I play the video, you can see Pac-Man kill the boss very fast. I'm just kidding. I did this because I want to tell you a new feature in Filmora 14 that can save you a lot of time, and we call it pass curve. To activate the pass curve, there is a two-way. The first one is on the right side. You can see under the position there is an option called pass curve. Just activate it. If you click on the Pac-Man, you can see these dotted lines and it shows you your animation. There is a second way to get access to the curve pass. When you work on the animation part, you can see the pass curve here. You can disable it or you can enable it from here. So this is a second way. On the pass curve, you can click on your keyframes and move them. I want to put the Pac-Man on the top of the maze, so I change my keyframe position from the player window instead of using these numbers on the right side, and it can save you a lot of time. If I play the video, you can see my Pac-Man goes to this location. You can right click on it and you can delete the keyframe, or you can change the keyframe type like a curve, continuous curve, freeze, ease in or ease out. We talked about them in the previous part. So we can change the keyframe from linear to curve and instead of do it from this part. So why I say this curve pass can save you a lot of time. For example, you can add a new keyframe between these keyframes. So if I let the Pac-Man moves and stop here and click on the Pac-Man again, and now we can move and put it here. As you can see, we created another keyframe between these keyframes. And if I play the video, you can see now it moves from the beginning of the maze, moves between the walls. I can play the video again and put it here. And again, press a space key on your keyboard, or you can move your playhead, then put Pac-Man here. Again, play the video and put your Pac-Man here. You can move your last keyframe to the end of the animation. And now, if I play the video, I create a keyframe here. I create this animation. So I should continue like this until he passes between these walls. So it moves between these walls, and for some parts it moves very fast. The Pac-Man speed depends on distance between these keyframes. As you can see, they are near each other, so we can move them to correct the distance between this keyframe to make his speed normal. And I think our animation should be longer, so I think 30 frames should be fine. So unlock the layers and increase the duration, lock them again, put last keyframe at the end and move the keyframes to the right Now, if I play the video, you can see he still moves a little faster. For these parts, it should be slower, but for these doors, we should have a faster animation instead of a slower animation. The total animation will be 40 seconds. But a little problem here is when he moves between walls, not straight as you can see, we can fix it with the curve paths. Just click on them, then get a straight line. If you want, you can zoom a little to see better what's happening, to see the details. Let's zoom out and change the zoom level to fit. And the problem here, when he moves between walls, his face doesn't rotate and he's only look at the right side. So we should animate his direction of his face. So for that, at first he should look down. So select the Pac-Man layer and change rotation to 90 degree and create a keyframe here and move your playhead and put your playhead at the next keyframe and change the rotation to 100 degree. Again, move your playhead and change the rotation to 90 degree again and continue like this until the end. If you can put your playhead at the right location, you can click this little arrow here and it jumps your playhead to the previous and the next keyframe. Continue like this until the end and change the rotation for all the keyframes. And as you can see, it's drifting like a pro driver. So we don't want that. It should rotate when he wanna turn. So do you remember the first keyframe I told you before? You can use it here. Just right click on your layer and select show keyframe animation. As you can see, we create a lot of keyframe on our layer. Click on this icon to see all the keyframes. So as you can see, we animate these keyframes and we are in the rotation part. Click on your first keyframe and choose the freeze keyframe. So click on this keyframe again and choose freeze keyframe and continue like this until the end. So now if I play the video, you can see you rotate at the right moment when you want to turn into the new hall. Now we should add points between the walls. For that, we need to add a text layer. There is two ways to add a text layer in your timeline. First one is go to the title. In the trending part, you can add a default title. The second way is, do you see this T icon here? Just click on it and click quick text and it adds a little text layer into your timeline. Now we can scale it or change the position. If you double click on it and press dot key on your keyboard a few times, you get these dotted lines. To change the style, you should go to the text part on the top and font layer to get a different shape of the points. You can do it from here. You can use some preset to change the color of the points. I like the colorful. You can use other preset if you like. Let's fill the first hall because he enters from here. Make it a little smaller and rotate it from here with your mouse and put them here. You can change the distance of the dots by click on this option, more text option, and change the letter spacing. Now it's better. Delete the extra points, and when the Pac-Man move from top to down, you should hit them. But as you can see, the Pac-Man doesn't eat the points, so we should mask them. For that, first duplicate the text layer and move it to the right side because we need it for later. I don't want to create a text from scratch, so I need it extra here. So right click on your text and create a compound clip, and we can rename it. When you create a compound clip, you have more options now. We can create a mask here, click on linear and rotate it like this and move it to up. Now create a keyframe for position, and when Pac-Man moves down, select your text layer and click on it and move the mask down. Now we have a 2 keyframe here. If I play the video, you can see he eats all of them. And if you see the timing is not right or the mask is not correct, put your playhead on the keyframe. You can correct the masks from here. If I check the animation, you can see now he eats them better. Timing is not correct, so we can change the distance of keyframes. If you zoom a little, you can see the mask here, and we don't want this, and increase the blur strength to 1 or 2 or 3 to get a smoother mask. So remember to do the same process for other text layers too, so I skip this part. As you can see, I add these dotted lines to the Pac-Man pass. Now let's add some ghosts to these areas and select these 3 ghosts and add them in the timeline and make them smaller. It should be smaller than the boss. Put them at these areas. It's like they are a guardian of the halls. We can make it a little and put this purple one here, mirror him to look at the different direction to make the animation more realistic. Now select all the ghost layers and increase the duration because we have a 30 seconds animation. So let's check the animation. When Pac-Man see this ghost, it should eat them. So let's move the Pac-Man layer in the top of all the layers because he should eat them and it should be on the top of the layer. When Pac-Man eat one of the ghosts, it should be disappear. We can use some animation. So go to the animation part. There is a 2 animation you can use. One of them is fade out. The second one is vortex out. I think for this part, vortex is good, so click and drag it at this time when Pac-Man eats it. And let's check the animation. Come here, and you can use the fade out for other ghosts. For example, let's play it. No different. You can use a vortex or you can use a fade out. So remember to do the same process for other layers too. So I skip this part. So we should add some random movements to the ghost. You don't need to do it manually. Let me show you how we can do it. On effect part, search mid. And with mid effect, we can add some movement to ghosts to make them more realistic and make the animation cooler. So before apply the mid effect, you should create a compound clip for each of them. So right click on them and create a compound clip. So apply a mid effect to the ghost layers. On the right side, you can get access to the effect layer. Now we can see the mid effect here and reduce the numbers to get a little shake and set the position X, Y, and Z on a 0.001. Reduce all the numbers and do the same process for other layers too, but use different numbers to get a random movements. But for the boss, use different numbers to get a stronger movement because it's the boss. So add the points to the other halls too, and no need to animate them, just fills them. So I speed up this part. As you can see, we fill these areas together. For sound design, Filmora has a great library of sound effects and music. First, let's add some game sound to get the Pac-Man style. Go to the audio part, sound effect, search for game, click enter, and let's hear some of them. Yeah, this one is good. It's like a victory. When the Pac-Man eat the boss, we should use a victory sound effect. For this part, put it here. When he kill the ghost, let's use a Mario coin. It's not a Mario game, but it feels like he get the points, you know. So put it here when he eats the ghost. We can use the music too, so go to the music part and search the game again. Yeah, this one is good. And reduce the volume to hear the sound effects better. So that's it. If you want to see more tutorials like this, you should check out our Filmora Creator Hub. There is a two-way to get access to it. The first one, on homepage, when you click on Creator Hub tab, you can see all the tutorials and the courses. The second way is, when you work on your project, on the top of your page, in the toolbox, if you click on Get the Creative, you can see all the course and tutorials like this in the different categories. Hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for using Filmora 14, and as always, stay creative.